Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Now, we're going to join Jack Glass from Team Hookup Guide Service. He's on the water this morning chasing springers with his clients out on the Willamette River. I'm sure, Jack, you're in probably one of those super secret spots. You got it all to yourself. You're just catching fish with nobody else around.
Yep. It's a secret spot here on the Willamette. If I can tell by all the boats that not many people know about this place. But, you know, for spring Chinook in our region is probably one of the most productive places in the area for spring Chinook. Because this area will be productive all the way through mid-July catching spring Chinook. There'll be fish caught every day if the water's clear. There's a lot of effort here. There's probably 100 boats here today. We're at the head of Multnomah Channel. Very popular spot. I don't need to lie about it. Everybody knows where it's at. But it's productive. We've seen 4 or 5 caught this morning. We got a nice one this morning.
Nice.
Yesterday was a pretty good day. Yesterday, probably 15 yesterday. So that's what I've seen so far.
Seen 4 so far. Okay, well, you said productive. It's been a very tough week coming up to this point. Do you maybe have a little bit of optimism going into the next handful of days?
Yes, it has. All week has been slow. We've had an incoming tide every day, and it really slowed the bite. It seems like the afternoon was much better bites than the mornings. So we've seen some this morning. There were some yesterday. I think this week's going to turn around and be a lot better week. We have Joe here that caught one this morning. We can show him on the air here if you want to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Pull that thing up. We showed a photo, but let's see the real fish, everyone. This is what all that effort, time, and money will get you, let alone deliciousness when it actually hits the barbecue. Yeah, that's a good one, Jack. How'd you actually catch it, Jack? What were you fishing with?
Joe's a big guy. So this fish is probably about 19 pounds, I'm going to guess, something like that, 18, 19 pounds. So pretty nice fish. He's down from Seattle.
Yes.
So I could bring him to this secret spot because he's going to go away. We won't have him here tomorrow.
He's not going to be out chasing fish in his own sled tomorrow.
Anyway,
I get
good job,
it.
Joe. That was caught on a herring and a triangle flasher, a fish flash triangle.
Okay, now where you're fishing, Jack, most of the time you're fishing deep water. With that triangle fish flash, with a herring, were you suspended or were you anywhere near the bottom?
Yep. We were suspended. You know, we're in 45 feet of water in here. That was on the line counter at 30 on the line counter.
Which roughly puts you in that 20-foot range, would you guess?
Yep, 20, 25 foot, plug cut, chartreuse colored triangle flasher, a fish flash, you know, I like those. We do have Pro Trolls out as well, 360 flashers with coon shrimp, because you know that's really productive as well. We missed some fish yesterday on that. I saw one caught this morning on a 360 and a coon shrimp. So that's always a good bet. Water's about 57 degrees. It'll probably warm up this week some as we get a little better weather coming this week too.
Now, earlier you mentioned that our tide set's going to change a little bit. They're not very tall tides. They're not going to be big exchanges. Can you tell everyone why that current is so important with spring Chinook this time of year and how that changes them up a little bit and maybe makes them a little bit more snappy to bite?
Yeah, it really does. And when you know, the whole Willamette system, when the current backs up, it's not nearly as productive as when there's good current. When there's good current, you know, then they have direction. They know where to go. They swim into it. When it backs up, they're kind of milling around a lot. We do catch them right at the top of the tide or maybe right at the bottom of the tide. Always seems to be a decent bite. But in between, it's hard to get them to bite. So this whole week, we've kind of had that push of incoming tide, and it just really slowed down. Yesterday picked up because we had some current yesterday. And this morning, I've seen a few. So we'll see what happens here today. This week, like you said, Owen, we'll probably pick up this week because we'll have some current.
Let's cross our fingers. It can't be much slower throughout the system. Any reports from down lower? Have you been spending any time down in the channel, Jack?
I haven't. You know, my son Brandon's fishing lower in Multnomah Channel. They've been doing pretty well down there, but down there all week it was an afternoon bite. It was when the tide was running back out. They had a pretty good afternoon bites down there, and everybody goes away. The morning bites overall there were some fish caught, but it wasn't on fire like, say, a week and a half ago when the current was pretty strong. It was quite productive down there.
For folks that are watching that are trying to make their plans this week with things the way the current conditions are, Jack, any advice that you could share with anybody out there that might want to, you know, maybe have a little foot forward when they do head out this week to chase some spring Chinook on the Willamette?
Well, I know where I'm fishing down here at this lower end of the Willamette. I'm more over at Harbor One Marina on Marine Drive. It makes a nice drive to drive down here. I'm in the Willamette. I don't have to fight the traffic, don't have to fight the boat ramps, and then just drive back up the Columbia. I have no traffic to deal with. It makes it a pretty relaxing way to deal with this. And you can fish in here through mid-July and catch spring Chinook every day out here when the water stays clear. Very productive area to be. There's a lot of boats, but it's a big area. It's easy to do and quite productive. So this week coming up, I would recommend probably start kind of early, get that morning part of the tide and come out and grind it out. You know, put your time in.
And that's really what it is. You got to put your time in and grind it out. I like to call it banging your head against the wall, trying to find the proverbial springer that's out there.
It feels like it. This week, I went home a few days this week, my tail between my legs, I was sucking. I couldn't catch anything.
Yeah,
so I was trying the best I could. It was no bite. It was really tough.
Is there a time, my last question, Jack, before I have to cut away, are you going to work your way upriver at all as we go forward, maybe chasing these fish upriver, or are you just going to stick it out down there at the head of the channel?
I'm going to stick it out down here at the head of the channel and the lower Willamette down to the deadline. There's a lot of room. I'm just going to kind of stay with this for a while. And then, as you know, I'll probably move over into the Sandy River when we get a little bump in water. We need some water. No water over there. There's no fish in the Sandy right now. So we get a little bump of water. I'll go fish that for a little while, too. I'll jump back and forth.
Yeah, I get it. Well, especially if you live where you live. Jack, as always, man, we appreciate you spending some time sharing some of your insight. Congrats on that fish this morning. Hopefully you can wrap it up with a couple more.
Well, we're going to do our best. You know that.
Jack, thanks as always, sir. If you get that chance to get out with Jack, make sure you look him up. It's Team Hookup Guide Service. He's easy to find. Jack, again, thank you, sir. All right, we're going to cut to a quick break. We're going to give you the deal of the week from Fisherman's Marine, and we got another very busy show tomorrow. We'll be back with that in just a minute.